is up, guys? EJ here, back with another video finally. Yes, I know it's been a while, basically over a month since my Christmas haul video, but I'm back with a new update, my Blu-ray DVD update for January 29th, 2017. Yeah, basically my January haul, stuff I picked up since Christmas. So I've got 10 things to show you. 8 Blu-rays, 8 movies, all from 2015. Still working on my 2015 wish list. Basically a sort of action, sci-fi, superhero haul, and I also got a couple of TV shows on DVD to show you. So let's get started. So first we have AntMan, directed by Peyton Reed, starring Paul Rudd, of course. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. One of the better Marvel films in recent years. I really liked it a lot. I thought Paul Rudd was a lot of fun. I really liked the dynamic between him and Michael Douglas and Evangeline Lilly. Corey Stoll was decent as the villain, alongside people like Michael Pena and Bobby Cannavale, who I always like seeing in movies as well. Yeah, really good fun. I love sort of some of the action scenes with the size. Like they did some comedic stuff with the size issues with Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, and I liked the character, and I thought it was a lot of fun. And of course, he made a great appearance in Captain America: Civil War. So that is Ant-Man. All right, up next, another big Marvel film from 2015, of course, and that is the Avengers Age of Ultron, directed by Joss Whedon. Not as good as the first Avengers film. Sort of a more like, I heard somebody describe it more like a weekend of Ultron as opposed to an age, but still a great stellar cast. You've got Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Robert Downey Jr., of course, Samuel L. Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner. Really like the additions of people like Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. Yeah, really loads of fun. James Spader is the voice of Ultron. Always good to see James Spader. But yeah, like I said, not as good as the first Avengers. The first Avengers is one of the best superhero movies of all time, that's for sure. But still pretty cool. Good action scenes. That's Avengers Age of Ultron. Alright, moving on, we have Chappie. Yeah, the latest sci-fi action thriller from Neil Blomkamp. Yeah, good film. Really enjoyed it a lot. Sholto Copley, always awesome. Hugh Jackman, Dev Patel, Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Sort of a futuristic society where mechanized robots serve as the police force, and then Chappie, one of these robots, gets reprogrammed and ends up with a couple of punks, basically. Some really good action scenes, good fun. Not as good as District 9, that's probably still my favorite Neil Blomkamp film, but I thought it was better than Elysium, his previous one with Matt Damon. But yeah, Chappie was a cool sci-fi action film from a couple years ago, and I dug it. That is Chappie. Alright, moving on to second in the series, which I don't love, to be honest, but I'm getting them anyway. I have the first one, and that is the Divergent series, Insurgent. I basically like most of the young cast. Big fan of Shailene Woodley. Theo James is alright in these films, but I like Miles Teller a lot as well. Big fan of him. And of course, Kate Winslet's my favorite actress. I really like her in the first two films. Shame she wasn't in the third one. But yeah, again, futuristic society where people are divided into classes based on their personality traits, basically. And of course, Shailene Woodley is a divergent one who sort of shares all these traits and is therefore dangerous to the status quo. Yeah, good action scenes, good sci-fi action thriller again. Yeah, good supporting cast, people like Octavia Spencer, Maggie Q, Naomi Watts, Ray Stevenson, to name a few. This is actually my favorite of the three films. I liked it better than the first one, and the third one was kind of a mess, if you ask me. But yeah, Insurgent I thought was the best out of the three Divergent films, and like I said, big fan of Shailene Woodley. So that's the Divergent series, Insurgent. Alright guys, moving on to another remake, and that is the new Fantastic Four, directed by Josh Trank. Yeah, the first two Fantastic Four films from the mid 2000s weren't great, but they were better than this, that's for sure. I just thought the whole tone of this movie was off. It sort of took itself too seriously, and there's a huge jump in timeline. Doesn't really develop the characters themselves, which is a shame because, like I said, I'm a big fan of Miles Teller, and I thought he did the best he could. Kate Mara was okay as the Invisible Woman. Jamie Bell as the Thing, and Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch. I didn't love Toby Kebbell as Doctor Doom. Yeah, like I said, the tone was just off in this movie. It sort of lacked all the fun that the Marvel franchise has. And it's not like the first two Fantastic Four films really needed a reboot. I thought the first one was pretty good. I like the director's cut of the first one. I haven't seen Rise of the Silver Surfer in forever. But I remember liking that film for the most part. But yeah, shame this Fantastic Four reboot wasn't that great. Alright, moving on. The franchise that doesn't seem to stop, even though Sally, one of its main stars, passed away tragically during the shoot of this movie. And that is, of course, Furious 7. Paul Walker, of course, tragically passed away in a car accident. Yeah, like before the release of this movie. Of course, you got The Rock and Vin Diesel and Paul Walker and the whole team teaming up again, basically going up against Jason Statham, who of course I love, who's awesome, avenging his brother, Bard the Bowman, from the Hobbit fame. I forget the actor's name. But yeah, good fun, good action scenes. I put it on par with Fast 5 as my favorite sequel in the series. And of course, whatever the new Fast and Furious 8 is coming out, I think this summer probably. Yeah, it's still good fun. I enjoyed the cast. Michelle Rodriguez and Gal Gadot and Tyrese Gibson and so on. But yeah, we don't really need any more Fast and Furious films, especially since Paul Walker passed away. I thought this would be the last one, to be honest, but there you go. It's a money-making machine for Hollywood and this franchise. So that is Furious 7. Alright, moving on. Completing my Hunger Games franchise, we have the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. Sort of a mess, if you ask me, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah, directed by Francis Lawrence. No relation, I believe, to the star, Jennifer Lawrence. Big fan of her, of course. And I like Josh Hutcherson in this series, along with Liam Hemsworth. And I'm a big fan of the adult cast as well. People like Donald Sutherland, Julianne Moore, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Sally, one of his last films, Elizabeth Banks, Stanley Tucci, Woody Harrelson. So yeah, good group of actors supporting like the main plot line. Yeah, I'd probably say the third one, Mockingjay Part 1, is one of my favorites of the franchise, along with the first one. But I thought Mockingjay Part 2 was kind of a mess. I did like sort of the ending for the most part, the sort of twists and turns it took. But there you have it, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. Alright, finishing off the movies, we have another sequel, sci-fi action film, and that is The Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, or just Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, directed by Wes Ball. Yeah, starring Dylan O'Brien. The young kid from Game of Thrones. I forget his name. I'm gonna look it up. It's like a double barrel name. Thomas Brody Sangster. He played like the weird uh, blonde haired kid who goes along with Bran up in the wilderness beyond the wall in Game of Thrones. And also Aidan Gillen is in this film, who plays Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. I liked his inclusion in this movie, but this sequel was not nearly as good as the first one. You got other people like Lily Taylor, Barry Pepper, who I've always been a fan of. Yeah, sort of after they escape the initial maze, these kids think they're being looked after, and then they escape into the Scorch, where sort of infected plague people are running around, killing people, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it wasn't really that memorable, the second one. But like I said, I like seeing Aidan Gillen in it, along with that other kid from Game of Thrones. That is the Maze Runner, or just Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials. Alright, moving on to the TV shows. I finally completed my CSI collection. CSI Crime Scene Investigation, the final season, or the 15th season. Yeah, big fan of the show. Unfortunately, I've still only watched up until like midway through like season 11 or so. I haven't really watched any of the later episodes that featured like Lawrence Fishburne, and I definitely haven't seen any of the ones featuring Ted Danson or Elizabeth Shue. I'm a big fan of her. Always liked her since Adventures in Babysitting. I've always liked Nick. He's my favorite character on the show, played by George Eads. He's great on the show. So I'm looking forward to eventually sitting down and finishing CSI. But now I have all 15 seasons. Yeah, I've got a ways to go, like 3, 4, 4.5 seasons to get through to finish off CSI. Alright, last but not least, I also picked up another show I haven't really watched, but I do have quite a few of the seasons so far, and that is Sons of Anarchy. Season 5, yeah, I have the first 4 seasons. I guess I need 6, and is there a 7th? I'm not sure. I still have only watched like the first half of season 1, and I watched that on FX when it initially ran. I haven't watched Sons of Anarchy, which is a shame because Ron Perlman's great. Charlie Hunnam, big fan of Katie Sagal, of course, from Married with Children fame. Peggy Bundy. So yeah, definitely eventually want to watch all of Sons of Anarchy. I'll probably do it all at once, like I did with The Sopranos and shows like that. When I get them all, I'll probably sit down and watch them all. But I'm behind on so much television, it's sad. But there you have it. Season 5 of Sons of Anarchy. So there was my 10 pickups for January. 8 Blu-rays movies from 2015. And a couple of TV shows completing CSI Crime Scene Investigation. Let me know, of course, if you've seen these movies. Pretty much everybody has seen these movies by now. Yeah, I still got like half of my wish list of 2015 to get through. But thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see ya.
Bond. James Bond.